everyone, and welcome back to Mind Muscle Momentum, the podcast where we ditch the fitness extremes and find what really works for you. Today, we're talking about something that people typically neglect to figure out when they start working out, and that is intention. Not just what to do in the gym, but why you're going to do those things. Because the truth is, if you're not training with intention, if you don't have a purpose, you're just wasting your time. I hope that by the end of this episode, you're able to clearly define what your goal is and tailor your training to it. So, first, what exactly does training with intention actually mean? It means that you're not just copying your favorite influencer and seeing the movements that they're doing and then implementing them. You're not randomly lifting one day, running the next, and wondering why nothing's changing. Training with intention means setting a clear goal and building a plan to support it. It means that you're specifically choosing the right exercises, sets, reps, amount of cardio, and nutrition that is based on specifically what you want to achieve, not just what's trending. So, real quick, I'm going to break it down into the three most common fitness goals that I see. Those include aesthetic, performance, and lifestyle goals. The first, the aesthetic goals, or what I like to call the look good goals, the main goal of this is to change the body composition, to lose fat, build muscle, or specifically shape the physique in a certain way. Typically, for aesthetic goals, you're going to have something that's hypertrophy training with around 8 to 12 reps with moderate to heavy weight. And this is seeking to just grow muscles, make them as big as possible, and see as much muscle definition in the shortest period of time. It's typically done in about resistance training with around 3 to 6 sessions a week and focuses on progressive overload. An optional part of this is steady state or interval cardio, and this is going to help us burn calories to get into a calorie deficit in order to lose fat. The nutrition side of things is also kind of building on this, specifically looking at a calorie deficit or potentially even a surplus or maintenance to build muscle. Typically, you're going to have a high protein intake, and macro tracking would be very helpful here. Some examples of things I hear people say a lot of times whenever their goal is actually an aesthetic goal is that I want defined arms, I want abs, I want to grow my glutes, I want to lean and tone. The next one we're going to go over is performance goals, aka a lot of people call it training like an athlete. This goal is about getting stronger, faster, or typically more explosive. It's for the people who want to run faster, jump higher, lift heavier, or compete. This training style is a combination of several things. A lot of times you'll have some sort of strength training with lower rep ranges, around 3 to 6 reps, very, very heavy loads. This is normally Olympic lifting, powerlifting, some sort of functional fitness, and a lot of times incorporate something called plyometrics. Within this type of training style, mobility and recovery work are crucial. It's important to condition with a very specific purpose. This includes sprints, sleds, agility drills. These are going to be tailored around what your specific training is for. So for me, as a collegiate soccer player, my training style is very different from that of a tennis player or someone that plays football, because I'm going to need several different skill sets that they don't necessarily need. I'm going to be running for 90 minutes as compared to a tennis player who's not going to run as far, but is going to constantly be moving side to side. Different movements require different types of training. As far as the nutrition focus for this, you're fueling for output. You do a lot of carbs, adequate protein, and this is to focus on recovery and muscle preservation. There's less emphasis on aesthetics and more on performance, although that is not to say that they are directly hand in hand. Examples of this could be, I want to hit a 300-pound deadlift. I want to shave time off of my 5K. I'm a collegiate athlete or athlete in general that wants to get faster or better at my sport. Lastly, we're going to talk about lifestyle goals, aka what I like to call the feel good goals. This is for those who just want to feel better. They want to have more energy, feel more consistently good, and move well. It's about longevity, health, and balance. This training style typically will have any sort of thing that specifically works in your type of training. So this could be 3 to 5 times a week with full body resistance training, walking, hiking, yoga, or a huge hit these days, Pilates. And this is just overall focusing on consistency, mobility, and a mind-body connection. For some people, it could literally be as simple as going on a walk. As far as the nutrition focus for this, the typical approach is a balanced whole food diet. There's mindful eating, but there's flexible habits for longevity. There's no extremes in this, just sustainable routines. So some examples of things I hear whenever I help people to decide their goals for this one would be, I just want to have more energy for my kids. I'm tired of feeling stiff and weak. I want to feel more consistent on a day to day basis. And then also just, I want to have a healthy, strong body that I can maintain. So, next, let's talk about how to align training with your goal. Here's one huge mistake that most people make: they set one goal, but they train and eat for another. Like trying to get really lean while doing a powerlifting program and eating like a triathlete. It doesn't work. So, let's try to match things up. You want to lose fat? Prioritize strength training and light cardio. Stay specifically in a calorie deficit. You want to gain muscle? Lift heavy and often. Focus on recovery and eat in a surplus. Want to feel energized and pain free? Get consistent with movement, sleep, and hydration. Choose training that supports your nervous system, not just stresses it. If you're not sure which goal to pick, ask yourself, do I want to look different? Do I want to perform better? Do I want to feel better in my body? Pick one main goal for the next 8 to 12 weeks. You can always shift later. One quick thing that I do want to mention is that these goals are not necessarily going to be completely separated from one another. If you're training like an athlete, you can still look to tone up. You can still be athletic while trying to lose, and that's all going to be changing in your diet and your training. So let's talk about a couple common mistakes that I see when people have that are goal setting traps, and that honestly, I've even made myself. One of those is chasing multiple goals at once. As we talked about before, you probably need to pick one just first. You can periodize and cycle goals, but picking one and working your hardest towards one specifically for a period of time is going to be the best approach. Another thing I see typically is not giving a plan enough time to work. If you're jumping programs every 2 weeks, you're not training, you're just testing. Another huge one with technology and social media these days is picking a goal based on someone else's body. Your favorite creator might train 6 hours a day, might genetically have those abs, or might have had work done. Not everyone's honest these days. That doesn't mean that you need to follow their exact routine. And lastly, a huge mistake that a lot of people make is forgetting to adjust for life. Your goals in college might not match your goals during finals or post surgery recovery. As I've learned, that's okay. Adjust and move on. So, just to wrap all of this up, if you're frustrated, tired, or confused by your results, it might not be your effort. It might be that your goal and your plan are out of sync. So, for this week's challenge, I want you to sit down and define your current number one goal: look, perform, or feel. Take an inventory of your current workouts and what your nutrition looks like, and then make one change on each end, fitness and nutrition, that aligns you closer to your intention. And as always, remember that your goal isn't permanent. Life changes and goals shift, but training with intention will always be the move. If this has helped you, share it with a friend or post it to your story and tag us at MM Momentum Podcast. Keep moving with purpose, and I'll catch you on the next one.